In Movies and Money in Los Angeles, the Department of Public Health is now urging film producers to strongly consider pausing production for a few weeks. It's become a hotspot of COVID cases in LA. Film critic Eric Childress brings us the update on how the industry is trying to survive. Hello, Eric.
Hi, Angie.
Well, we finished the year of 2020 without a traditional holiday movie season, but Wonder Woman 1984 still managed to make some headlines. What can you tell us?
That's right, Angie. Now, obviously, the big news we covered that Patty Jenkins' sequel to Wonder Woman was going to be streaming on HBO Max the same day it was being released into a still depleted marketplace. Nevertheless, while many were tweeting their reactions to the film at home on Christmas Day, Wonder Woman 1984 had the biggest theatrical opening during the pandemic, making $16.7 million over the three-day Christmas weekend. Now, if you go back to the studio's opening of Tenet over Labor Day, the $20.2 million that was reported actually stretched back a few days of previews predating the holiday weekend. Now, the numbers were not nearly as good this past weekend, as its totals dropped over 67% down to just $5.5 million, giving it a total gross of $28.5 million domestically and over $118 million worldwide. It is hard to say in this environment just how much word of mouth fed into that, but the response to the film certainly shifted once fresh eyes were focused on it. After some early rapturous response by what could politely be referred to as specially curated reviewers, most of the reaction ranged from a simple shoulder shrug of being fun to an absolute mess that permeated from the screenplay to the acting. I certainly fell in the latter category, and while I cannot speak for everyone, it appeared that many were probably happy they only had to pay $14.99 one time for their families and could just click over to any number of good movies and content afterwards.
That surprising Warner Brothers deal to stream its big budget films on HBO Max last month brought a lot of controversy. Are you starting to see some cracks in the rollout of that strategy?
Perhaps, Angie. Put aside the general frustration and outright anger expressed by some of the filmmakers and production companies who were blindsided by this news, and we may be seeing Warner Brothers backtrack slightly on their big announcement. Not long after director Denis Villeneuve wrote an op-ed blasting the decision to put his new adaptation of Dune onto the streaming service, and Legendary Pictures, who bankrolled most of the hopeful franchise, there have been reports that the film may get a traditional theatrical release after all next October. Remember that no other studios flinched after this initial announcement and are mostly moving forward with the hopes that the vaccine rollout will bring things back around in time for the summer season or even as early as April. So for Warner Brothers to now kind of waver to ward off potential lawsuits and preserve relationships is wishy-washy but understandable, even as many new HBO Max subscribers may be thinking, what the heck, after plunking down for Wonder Woman. But even well before Dune, less than 2 weeks after the news dropped, Warner Brothers already shifted the release date of the new Mortal Kombat film slated to premiere initially next week simultaneously on HBO Max as well as in theaters back to April 16th. Now, however, the Denzel Washington serial killer thriller, The Little Things, is still on course to premiere on the 29th of this month.
Eric, what can we look forward to in the weeks ahead in 2021?
A number of things, Angie. Movies may not be opening in theaters just yet, but they are all around us, and I'll be sure to be providing more recommendations right here as we continue to wait out and keep safe from this pandemic. In just 3 weeks, Sundance will begin their first virtual edition of their film festival. I will be attending from home for a full week of movies, so I will have a sneak preview of films to look forward to down the road, as well as reporting on what could be some very interesting deals now that the streaming services are front and center at the battle for subscriptions. Plus, award season is currently in swing. New York, Los Angeles, and the Chicago Film Critics Association, to which I sit on the board of, announced their choices for the best work of 2020, and we still have more than 2 months to go before the Oscar nominations are announced on March 15th. But I'll keep you updated on the favorites for the race and everything related to the movies right here.
We will look forward to that. Thank you very much, Eric. For more Business First AM, check us out on social media. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.